Knotend is a flowchart maker designed for speed through keyboard shortcuts. In this video, we're going to show you an in-depth look at tons of the features, starting with the most basic and going through to some of the more advanced ones. And to get a quick sense of what Knotend is like, you can see this blank canvas here. And unlike most flowchart editors where you're kind of dragging boxes around, with Knotend you use primarily your keyboard. So for example, if I hit tab, I'll get my first node here. Tab again, we'll add one to the right of that, and so on. If I hit Command Enter, I can add a sibling like that. Hit Command Enter again. You'll see that it automatically positions these nodes. You don't pick exactly where they go. You can navigate around this grid, so you can change the size and kind of the dimensions of the graph. But we'll just keep them all at the default for now. And since you can navigate around, you can also multi-select, right? You can multi-select all these last ones here and then hit tab again to get one at the very end. If I want to put a node at the beginning, I just hit shift tab. There's tons of little shortcuts in here and ways to edit the graph. We'll go through all of those and show you a more complex example. So for example, if we open up the examples here, here's a graph showing a mission to Mars. So you can see you can get these pretty complex graphs here, and Knotend will keep them all nicely aligned and automatically pick the layout. So even if we go in here and do a somewhat complex edit, like I can add a node in between these two here, insert new node, you'll see that Knotend pushes the graph out over here to give you some space to add a node in the middle. So even these relatively large graphs will automatically be laid out every time that you make an edit. So let's start over from scratch here. So I'm going to hit Command A to select everything and then delete. What you'll notice is that when we start to add nodes in here, so I'll say first node, Knotend actually stores all of your information in the URL. So if I go to the address bar up here, you'll see this long URL here. And if I were to copy this and then open a new tab, paste it, you'll see we get the same graph, just this one node that we added here. So all that information is stored in this URL, which is really nice because you can send that URL to a friend, you can store it in a Confluence page, a Google Doc, you can bookmark it, and you don't have to log in or sign in or pay or anything like that. Now, if you want to store your graphs to our backend, then you can sign up, and basically that's what this UI is here. You can see that I'm logged in, so on the top right I can see my account, and I can basically make as many graphs as I want. I can give them a name, but otherwise it's the same UI, the same experience here. You can make flowcharts. But for today, we're just going to stick with looking at the free version here. So let's make a kind of more complex graph. Let's say that what I want to do is some project management. So I have a team and we need to manage our work. And for this, we're going to say that we're shipping some software feature. So the first thing that we might have to do is do some design mocks. And then from there, we might do some front-end work. So I just hit tab to add that. Maybe in parallel, we can do some back-end work, exploration. Now, once both of those things are done, maybe we want to test this with some users. Once we've done that, maybe we need to iterate on the design. Now we've got kind of a V1, let's say. So at this point, maybe we want to do full mocks. And I'll hit Command Enter to add a sibling. And maybe in parallel, we can have the Eng team do tech debt, right? From the first V1, they can kind of see a better approach to take. Maybe also in parallel, we want to show the marketing teams that they're kind of aware of the work that we're doing here. So again, that was just Command Enter to add a sibling between these guys. Now, maybe we want to do something like, consult with the finance team. So to insert a new node between these, I could either click on this arrow and click Insert New Node, or there's a keyboard shortcut, which is if I hold Option and Shift, and then use the arrow key. So I'll use the right arrow key to insert one on the right here, like that, and say consult finance. And that also works if you want to insert between one node and then multiple children. So I could insert a node here to the right the same way, and it will insert that node between these three and this one. But let's delete that. And also, one thing you'll notice when we delete this node, because we don't want it anymore, is that Knotend will automatically stitch your graph back together. You'll see that it will connect them to this node over here. We hit delete. So the graph stays nicely connected. And that can work with even very complex graphs and complex deletions. Like, for example, what if we just delete all of this stuff in here? Same thing, it will kind of pull those nodes over. But let's undo that. Let's try to add a new node down at the bottom here. So I can do that with Command Option N, or you can hit Tab if there aren't any nodes selected. So let's say ship the beta. So I could have just added this over here immediately, but what I want to show is a feature where you can drag this node to connect. So maybe the ship beta, I'll put first, develop beta, and I can drag this guy and put it after this one. So just a simple way to connect using your mouse. Another way I could have done that, so let's back out of there, is with this feature called staging, which is this little ribbon icon right here. So if I click that, or use the keyboard shortcut Command Option S, you'll see that it highlights this node. And it puts it in this kind of special mode where now I can use Tab and Shift Tab to move this node. So for example, I could click on this node over here, and then if I hit Tab, you'll see that this ship beta will move over here. So if I hit Tab, you see it jumps over here to the right. Same thing, I could have used Shift Tab, so let's undo that and stage this again. Maybe I want to put this in the very beginning, so I can hit Shift Tab, and you'll see it gets put before DesignMox. Let's back up though, because we want ship beta to be, let's see, we want it to be over here. Another way that you can kind of move nodes around is with copy, cut, paste. So copy and paste works as you would expect. So for example, let's say that we want to do some kind of significant edit here, like we want to cut these three nodes here. I can Command X these, and then I can paste. And when you paste, it will connect it to the currently selected node. So when I paste here with Command V, you'll see that Knotend found basically the node that had no dependencies and connected it to this last node here. Another kind of neat thing you can do is, let's kind of undo that. So I have those three nodes copied. You can also paste and insert at the same time. So if I want to insert what I just cut between these two nodes, you'll see if I control click, it'll show me this paste before and insert. Command Option Shift, and then use the arrow. So I'll use that shortcut. So I'll hold Command Option Shift and then left arrow. Let's back up though, because we want to keep those nodes at the very beginning here. So let's go a little bit faster. So now we've shipped our beta feature. So after that, we probably want to get some user feedback. Maybe we want to test the view the analytics on the feature. We want to do a engineering review of how it went. Design review, all those great things. Now, probably we've gotten some good feedback here, so we can collect the feedback and iterate on a V2. Now I'm going to stop talking and just make a graph at full speed. Now go to knotend.com and use it for free.